G'day and welcome to another big edition of the Ballarat Football Netball League Senior Footy Show. Thanks to our great mates at McDonald's. I'm joined by Tara Murray from the Star Weekly. Geez, the first weekend of the final was an absolute cracker.
It was. I think we had a couple of close ones, and obviously we've got a couple of teams who we probably didn't expect to get this far in finals are through, and you've got one team that hasn't played finals in 11 years is now sort of playing off for a grand final. We've seen it the last few years. Obviously Bacchus, Marsh and Darley have come from not playing finals for a number of years, not winning flags and coming through and winning premierships. We could have another story like that this year. Absolutely.
The Cinderella run continues. As the game that I had the pleasure of watching on the day, it was Melton that were too strong for Lake Wendouree by 22 points. Melton was in front the entire day, barring probably 5 minutes when scores were level. Once that first score was kicked, it was kicked by the Bloods. They were never headed after that. So it's the second week in a row they did a similar number on Bacchus Marsh. They got out early to an early lead, and then they were never headed.
And look, and probably like similar to Bacchus Marsh, they were never able to put the side away, put away their opposition. In this case, Lakers, until the final quarter. So they kicked the first 4 goals of the final quarter to put the result beyond doubt. And then sort of obviously you've got a side that hasn't played finals for a number of years. There was no nerves. They were out fine. They were nice and relaxed. You've got only a few players that have played senior finals, but a lot have played junior finals at the Bloods. So it's good to see there, and obviously they've got a lot of confidence. They're the informed side headed into finals, and they showed that on the weekend.
I still love the form of Havey and all, the way they perform up in the forward line. They're exceptional. They're great to watch, and they can push out either end of the ground. Just to have that height that the Lakers were sort of really exposed of on the day, and then of course you get Ben Archer, who's just an absolute gun in his own right. So the height was certainly a big difference. But wet weather conditions, that really doesn't suit the tall players. But fortunately for the Bloods, they were able to make the most of it. It was just something the Lakers really couldn't handle. And then even the forward line, they didn't quite have the structure. Nathan Pring pushed forward. He sometimes was taking 2 or 3 players to him. It was a tough one.
Look, and I think we're sort of seeing the Lakers have sort of limped into finals. That was their 3rd loss in 4 weeks. They've had players in and out. They've had injuries, but they haven't had that consistency and flow going, and I think that's probably showed on the weekend. You've got a side that Melton's they're the most informed team of the competition, kept that flow going. Lakers have been up and down, not having their full side. And I think we sort of showed they've sort of a little bit limped into finals, and it's shown in the results.
I think what we're enjoying with Melton, because it is an enjoyment when you're watching a team like that. They're not a team of stars. They've got 22 players out there. They're all on the same page. They have different players sort of coming in and out of the game, but they play a very united game, and that's what it's exciting to watch. And some of the better sides in the competition do just that. So I think that's something really exciting for them heading into the rest of the finals.
It is, and as I think we spoke the last couple of weeks, 99% of this side is all Melton juniors.
Yep.
So I think Ben Archer's the only one who hasn't played juniors at Melton. So they're all young kids that they've got through the system. They've really built. So these kids have played together. They're not necessarily kids now, but they've all played together for a number of years. They've learned each other's games. They've done that, so they know how each other play, and that if one player is not standing up, that someone else is, and it's really encouraging for the club.
Absolutely right there. Now let's talk about the game that I think, I know when I was over at Darley Park, I was looking at this one going, oh, well, Melton are going to play North Ballarat City. It's going to be a great game, great challenge, but then casually looking at the scores of the game, the final quarter goes on, and all of a sudden the East Point have come back and they hit the front in the dying moments. The only time they were in front that day, and they beat North Ballarat City by a point.
As you look at, obviously not great conditions probably up there as well.
Correct,
obviously,
yeah.
If they weren't great in Darley, probably not great in Ballarat up there. And you go at 3/4 time, East Point was 24 points down. They'd trailed it every other quarter. So you thought, okay, North Ballarat City's going to get up in a low-scoring match. But in the end, East Point's come from the end. North picked just 1 point in the final quarter. And as you said, East Point hit the front in those dying moments to get the win and through to a semi-final and a shot at a grand final spot.
And City did have their chance because they had a shot at goal, probably, I think it was the last minute of the game, and it went out of bounds on the full, from what I've been told by one of the stars involved in the game. And look, the game could have gone extra time. There was a possibility that could have been the case in those tough conditions, but not to be. East Point pull off well, it was a 43-point turnaround in just over a quarter. It was just one of the most inspiring wins, going back to the Essendon beating Adelaide in the '93 preliminary final, which was fantastic. So similar to what that was all about, but only sort of 2 goals for most of the game, East Point, and then they were able to turn it on when it mattered.
It was, and obviously you look at that, it sort of showed why they were the top side all season. North Ballarat City would be pretty disappointed with that. They would have thought the game was theirs. They probably had a few more, they had some opportunities, obviously, to do that. In the end, it was pretty even scoring shots, so you can't say, oh, they missed too many shots. That was pretty even. But in the end, they'd be left to rue that one. It's probably one that got away, considering they led for 99% of that game.
Darley and Bacchus Marsh battled head-to-head at Darley Park, and again, Bacchus Marsh fall at the hands of Darley for the third time this year, and I think they did so on numerous occasions last year as well. That really is the bunny. Darley that'd be as good a win as they would have had this year. Well, other than the previous time they beat Bacchus Marsh.
Obviously, as you said, it's the third time, and Darley knocked them off in last year's grand final as well. So, look, Darley sort of had the wood over Bacchus Marsh, and speaking with Heath Scotland, he sort of said for them, they thought it was just making sure, they know they're a very fit side, they've just got to ensure that they're focused for the whole full game, and they thought they had the stamina to run over the top of Bacchus Marsh, and that's where it was. Bacchus Marsh was in the game until three-quarter time, but in the end it was in the final quarter, the Devils kicked 6-0 to run over the top. They did it the previous week against East Point. They run over the top despite only having two fit players on the bench, so they've got a lot of fitness. For them, it's the mental side of things. And speaking with Heath, he said they're really confident, they're in a really good spot, and they're getting contributions across the board. Well,
it is interesting because it was late last year where they went from being a powerhouse side to a mid-season form slump, and then they just got themselves right at the right time of year. That win in the last round of the home and away season got them going. They went to the finals with some confidence. And that continues that trend because they did finish, well, they had to go the long way around last year as well. They finished third, so look, they're certainly in some exciting form. But you know, for Bacchus Marsh, it was a big season of missed opportunities.
Look, for Bacchus Marsh, I think halfway through the season, we thought they were the clear favourites. They looked on top of the ladder. They had a lot of key players. They did lose players through injury. Obviously, losing Scott Sherlock was a massive out for them. He retired, but he was named as an emergency heading into this final. So there was a little bit of intrigue about his selection, whether he would play or not. In the end, he didn't. But you look at they've probably had injuries, didn't get the consistency they wanted, and they'll probably be ruining the opportunity that they've gone out in elimination final. I thought they would have possibly gone through to a grand final, so they'll be quite disappointed with that, considering the players they brought into the side and the strength they had across the board. They'll be disappointed with the season. Definitely
right there. It certainly shapes up to be a very intriguing finale to this weekend, which is something we'll certainly touch on. But of course, just repeating the winners: Melton big winners over the Lakers. East Point got up over the thrill over North Ballarat City, and then on the Sunday, Darley did a nice job on Bacchus Marsh to get themselves followed up. Thanks to our friends at Macca's. Tara, thanks so much for jumping on board. We can't wait to talk up semi-final action later on the week.
Thanks for having me.